Come with me to the Gospel of Luke, chapter number 7. I felt like Walter Hawkins with this particular text. I fought all night long until I finally got it. Luke chapter number 7. It took me to this morning to get the gist of what this is. It's verses 1 down through verse number 10. I only want to read verse 9, but allow me to preach verses 1 through 10, and prayerfully we'll get a greater understanding when we come together in Bible study on Tuesday. New American Standard Version of the text. Now when Jesus heard this, he marveled at him, the centurion, and turned and said to the crowd that was following him, I say to you, not even in Israel have I found such great faith. You may be seated. When Jesus heard this, he marveled at the centurion and turned and said to the crowd that was following him, I say to you, not even in Israel have I found such great faith. I want to call this sermon The Quest of Faith. The Quest of Faith. This passage, Luke chapter 7, verses 1 through 10, is what we call a quest narrative. A quest narrative. It is a difficult search to find or achieve something rather important that changes you in the process. It's a quest narrative. You are more familiar with this if you like movies, because in movies they have this plot scheme called the hero's journey. When I think of the hero's journey, I think of something like a Hercules. Hercules is this puny little boy, not strong at all, and he finds out that he's the son of a god. And so he begins this journey to reconnect to his father, and in the process of getting back to who he originally was, he changes in the process. That's kind of what this text is. On the surface, we see a centurion who has committed himself to seeing his slave healed from a life-threatening disease. But if we dig a little deeper, a little further under the surface, we find that the story is really about the centurion's journey of faith. That he's on a journey of faith. Not that faith is static, not that you arrive at a point where you have faith, but you are fluid with your faith. You are growing with your faith. Romans 1:16-17, I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Why are you not ashamed of the gospel? Because the gospel is the power of God unto salvation, first to the Jew and then to the Gentile. Here's the second reason why I am not ashamed of the gospel, because in it The righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith. As I learn more about who Jesus is, I come to know him more. I come to believe in him more. I come to trust him more. The more I know about him, the more my faith grows. The more I have an experience with him. I'm coming if y'all just hold on with me. The more I have an experience with God, the more I know that I can depend on him. And God allows circumstances and situations in our lives so that we'll come to know him in a greater way. And the more we know him, the more we trust him. And that's what this story is trying to show us, that you're never at one place in your faith. You're always on your way to another level of faith, that you're coming to trust in God even the more because of what you know about it. That's what this is. That's what this is. And so the starting point for us in the text is that the centurion believes that Jesus has the power to heal his slave. That's where we start. That Jesus has the power to heal the centurion's slave. Let me bring it into the contemporary context, and maybe you'll say, man, and stop looking at me like a deer in headlights. Jesus has the power to heal whatever sickness you have. That's the text. The text is tailored to teach us that whether you're sick on your deathbed, whether it's a headache, a backache, a stomach ache, a toe ache, a finger ache, whatever kind of sickness you have, God can heal you. For he was wounded for our transgressions, and he was bruised for our iniquities, and the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Jesus can heal any manner of disease. Open up a blinded eye, unstop a deaf ear, loose a stammering tongue, stretch out a withered hand, dry up a 12-year hemorrhage. I'm trying to get somebody in this room to know that if you got a sickness, God can heal it. And I don't know what sickness you may be facing. It may be physical, it may be mental, it may be emotional, but if you're sick, God can heal you. I wish I had a witness in the virtual sanctuary that'll help me better than the people in the local sanctuary to testify that God will heal you. God will heal you. God has the power to heal you. The question of the text is, will he do it for me? Will Jesus heal the slave if I ask him to? If I ask him, will he do it? Here's another way to say the same question. Does my request warrant an answer from Jesus? See, the key word in this text is this word worthy. Worthy, W-O-R-T-H-Y, worthy. It shows up 3 times in the text. The first time it shows up is in the mouth of the Jewish elders, and they're saying he is worthy. And then it shows up in verses 6 and 7 in the mouth of the friends, saying that the centurion said that I'm not worthy of you to come into my house, and I was not worthy to come out to meet you in the street. The key word of the text is this word worthy, and it comes from a Greek word axio, A-X-I-O-S, and it's the picture of a counterbalance. And the idea is, the literal word literally means to draw down the scale. Is when you have weights on one side of the scale and then you start putting other weights on the other side to balance out the scale. is saying that I am of value, that I am of worth. And the centurion's question, the question of the text is, am I worthy to receive a blessing from God? And so the first thing I want to point out in the text is this battle for worthiness. It's the first half of the text, verses 3, 4, and 5. The centurion says, Jesus can heal my slave, but I got to get him to the house. And so he sends the leaders of the Jews, the elders of the Jews, to Jesus. Community leaders sent to Jesus to negotiate the deal, to convince Jesus to come to the centurion's house. And we see the Jewish leaders, they get to Jesus and they say, Jesus, the centurion wants you to come and save his slave. And then they add this character reference. They say, he's worthy for you to do this for him. And then they start lining out why this man deserves a favor from God. They say, number one, you should want to do this for him because he wants to help his slave. He's a good man that wants to help his slave. You should want to bless a good man that wants to help his slave. You should want to bless a good man, not just a good man, but a gracious man. He loves our nation. He's a Gentile that loves you. Wait, what you said? I said he's a Gentile that loves you. He's not one of us. He's not from our ethnic group, but he's become sensitive to our way of life. He likes our people. He likes how we have church. He likes how we dance. He likes the food we eat. If you should be good to anybody, you ought to be good to somebody who's sympathetic to our cause. You should be good to him because he's a good man. He's a gracious man. And I'll tell you how gracious of a man he is. He's a generous man. He's the donor that paid for the local synagogue. That he put up his own money. He was making over $400,000 a year as it is. And he took some of his own money and built us a synagogue. If you're going to bless anybody, you should bless a good man, a gracious man, a generous. If anybody deserves to be blessed, you should bless the good man, the generous man, the gracious man. But here's the problem. What you receive from God is given by grace and received through faith. Come at it one more time. What you get from God has been given to you by grace, which is to say that you can't deserve what you get from God. Lord, social media say amen to me because they won't do it in the local sanctuary. I said, what you get from God, you do not deserve. I don't care how many churches you build, you still don't deserve for the Lord to wake you up in the morning. I don't care how many people you've been gracious to and good to. When you get up in the morning, it is wholly and completely by the grace of God. There's absolutely nothing you can do to earn a blessing from God. There's nothing you can do to deserve a blessing from God. You can't buy no blessing. I don't care how many times you think if I just pay my tithes, the Lord will do. No. You cannot earn a blessing. You receive a blessing, and it comes to you by grace from God. We're in a battle. We're trying to work our way into a blessing. That's the problem in the text. That this first group thinks that because he's done so much good that he deserves to be blessed. And the problem I have with this is that some of y'all sitting up in GB on this second Sunday in April think that if I just read my Bible enough, the Lord's gonna bless me. Some of y'all think that if I show up on Sunday enough that God's gonna bless me, when the reality is you can't come here enough to get a blessing. I already told you, and I'm a little bit ahead of myself in the sermon, but I got to run on to a close. I need to let you know that you can't earn a blessing. You can't buy a blessing. You can only receive a blessing. Don't matter how much you do or how well you do, you'll never earn it. But here's my shout. Here's my shout on the first half of this sermon. Here's my shout on the first half of this sermon. My shout is that even with the centurion trying to earn his blessing, Jesus still says, I'll go to your house. You trying to buy this blessing? You're trying to use your resume. You're trying to get God to do you a favor, like you can work out a deal with God, and God looking at you like you crazy. You don't even understand what's going on. But if I want to bless you, I'm still going to bless you in spite of you. I need somebody in this room to help me preach this little sermon and testify that when I was messing up trying to do this thing my way, I was trying to dot every I and cross every T I could, because I thought that was going to get me a blessing. He looked over my craziness and blessed me anyway. I'm preaching to somebody this morning that can testify that I was running myself into a ditch trying to earn something that God wanted to give me anyway. Over here, trying to work my way. I was working my way. No. And it never worked out. He blessed me in spite of me. No, that's the first half. Second half, I'm gonna preach this somewhere else where they like this sermon a little bit better, because it definitely ain't working here. The battle for worthiness. That's the first one. Here's the second one. This is the good stuff. If they're not gonna get happy on this, I don't even understand why. The second point is the blessing of unworthiness. The blessing of unworthiness. See, Jesus says, I'm going to the house, and they decide to go to the house. They're going to the house. Jesus is going, and word gets to the centurion, verse 6 through 10, word gets to the centurion that Jesus is on the way to the house, and the centurion sends another group of people. The first group was the leaders of the Jewish community. They owed the centurion a favor because he built their church. But the second group is called friends. See, there are some people who are indebted to you, but then there are other people who are endeared to you. And so this second group is people who really love the centurion. They have relationship with the centurion. And really, this is a picture of the difference between those who try to work for their blessings and those who have relationship and are blessed because of their relationship. Because those who work for their blessings, they feel like they are entitled to the blessing. When you're in relationship, I love him whether he gives me something or not. I can't get nobody. See, that's the difference between working this thing and realizing that this thing is by grace. That my grace people have come to understand that the only reason why I'm blessed is because he loved me so much that he looks beyond my faults and he sees what I need and he blesses me in spite of me. While I'm over here dotting I's and crossing T's and reading Bible and praying and doing all this stuff, I'm not worried over there. I'm over here because he loved me so much. He loved me so much that he doesn't call me a slave. He calls me a friend. He says, these are my friends. And I don't keep nothing from my friend. I'll talk to my friend and I'll talk to him like I talk to someone face to face. Greater love has no man than this, than he'll lay down his life for a friend. I'm trying to get, this is a different group of people. And the friends, another sign difference between those who are working for a blessing and those who receive a blessing. The first group talked for the centurion. They talk for him. He's worthy. He's worthy. He's worthy. He's a good man. He loves our nation. He built us a synagogue. But the friends don't talk for him. They talk as him. Listen to me preaching here. I said they don't talk for him, they talk as him. When the friends start talking, it's not in second person. They don't say he, they say I. They are so connected to this centurion. They're so in tune with him that it's his words coming out of their mouths. And when you really have a relationship with God, and when you really love him, and when you truly submit to him, you open your mouth and he'll speak through you and he'll speak for you. He says, in that very hour, I'll tell you what to say. I ain't got where I'm trying to get to, but I feel warm. I'm trying. They're not talking for him, they're talking as him. Now I've been preaching this whole sermon to get to this point. I gotta come in. I've been trying to get to this point right here. The Jewish leaders was trying to get Jesus to come to the house by proving how worthy the centurion was. But the friends, now that Jesus is actually on the way to the house, text says that he's close to the house. The friends come out. Well, he said, don't trouble yourself anymore. Because I am not worthy for you to come into my house. And the truth is, the reason I didn't meet you in the road was because I wasn't worthy then. See, what's happening here, there is a lesser to greater comparison. It's this word worthy at play. And what's happening is the centurion is going over this in his mind, and he's thinking this thing through. And he says, yeah, I love my servant, my slave, but he loved his enemies. And that's a little heavier than my loving my slave. And then he says, well, I love the Jewish nation. I love another nationality. But God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Wait. God so loved the world that he, wait. God so loved the world. That's a little heavier than my loving another nation. I built a temple. I built a synagogue. But no. God so loved the world that he gave his only son. Wait. That's heavier. And when I stand in the scales and I weigh myself against who God really is, there is absolutely nothing I can do to measure up to who he is. I can walk the straight. I can pray. Yeah, I can do everything I can do, but it's never going to be enough to measure up to who he is, because he's holy and he's righteous and he's faithful and he's good and he's merciful and he's just and he's kind and he's never failing and he never changes and he never lies and he never gives up. He is totally higher and totally bigger and totally greater than I am, and I can't measure up to that. There's no favors I can do to God. He don't need my money. He don't need my money. There's no favors I can do for God. There's no secret that I got on somebody that I can tell him that he don't already know. I can't do no favors for God. There's nothing I can do that he can't already do. And since I cannot do him any favors, I have to admit that I'm not worthy. On my best day, my righteousness is no more than a filthy rag. And so I'm not worthy for him to come into me. I'm not worthy to stand in his presence. I'm not worthy of this. But then he keeps going. He keeps going. I'm coming up and out. He says, listen, I'm going to continue this lesser than, greater than comparison. See, I am a centurion, which means I have 100 soldiers or 100 police officers under me. And I got my authority from my commanding officer. And I know that if I say something to one of my 100, whether I'm there or not, I'm going to come at that one more time, because she caught it, the rest of y'all just didn't. I am a centurion. I got 100 people under me, and power was given to me from my commanding officer. And I know if I give an order, whether I'm there or not, whatever I say, my 100 is going to get done. Now, if I'm over 100, you speak and the winds and the waves lay down. You speak and the demons and the devils shut up. You speak and body parts that wasn't there start growing again. You speak, the sun stands still in the sky. You speak, a dead man gets up out of the grave and marches out. If you speak. Now, if you got the power to talk like that, you don't have to be at my house. I wish y'all were listening to me. You don't have to be at my house to say something, because I know whether I'm there or not there, whatever I say is going to be done. So why don't you right there where you are speak a word over my servant? Why don't you right where you are? You ain't got to get to the house to do this. You can stand right there in the road and say whatever you want to say, and my servant is going to be healed. Now I need you to look at verse number 10. I'm skipping 9 and going to 10. 10 says that the friends and the Jewish leaders get back home. And when they get back home, they don't just find the slave healed, they find the slave in good health. Now, here's my problem. We never see in the text where Jesus said that he be healed. Y'all not listening to what I said. That centurion sent word and said, if you say it right here in the road, it's going to happen. Jesus never says, be healed. Jesus never said, go home and when you get there, everything's going to be all right. No, Jesus says, I'm not seeing so great faith. And when they get home, he's not just healed, he's in good health. I've been preaching my whole sermon so I could give you this sermon in the sentence. Your unworthiness does not change Jesus's willingness to bless you. See, you thought by admitting that you weren't worthy that it was going to change God's mind about blessing you, when the whole time it was always on God's mind to bless you. He was just waiting on you to realize that you couldn't do this on your own, that you didn't have to earn this, that you never deserved this. But in my grace and in my mercy, in my goodness, in my compassion towards you, I'll do something for you. Jesus says, I'm done. I'm stopping. I'm out of time. You can play softly. Jesus says, I'll holler another time. Jesus says, I'm not seeing such great faith in all of Israel. We started at, yes, Jesus can heal. And we moved from Jesus can heal to maybe if we get him to the house, he can heal. But we end up to, you ain't even got to come to the house. You don't even have to be present for this to work. Your power is not bound by place or time or space. You can bless me anywhere. Now, why are you preaching this, Pastor? I'm preaching this because I need you to come to a place where you believe that even though I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. But my unworthiness does not change his willingness to bless me. Every blessing I receive is in spite of me. Nothing I've ever done. I didn't deserve that blessing. I didn't deserve that car. I know we like to say, girl, you deserve this. You deserve this. Man, you deserve this. No. Let me be honest. I do not. I don't deserve it, but I'm his friend. And he loves me. And because he loves me, he blesses me in spite of me. Now my faith is at another level because I see him in a greater way. Lord.